Just came out of a conversation that Brett and I had kind of almost when we first met. We were working on another project together, that's how we met. And we were just talking about, just getting to know each other, and we were talking about our relationships. I was in a long-term relationship, Brett was single. And he asked me, so how do you know, is she the one? And I was like, I don't know, but I hope so, but I really don't know. And then it came out of that, so well, what if you could take a test? And what if you could know, what would that mean? And the idea just unpacked itself out of that conversation. So it came very early on, and then we talked about it for about 15 years until we decided, well, we better write something about it because we know these characters so well now, we have to tell their story.
I'm fascinated by love and relationships and the idea of it's endless. The idea's been with us for thousands of years that there's one person meant for you, and it seems insane when you think about it that one person should be your everything, and it's a lot of pressure on one person. They got to do a lot of work, and I also think life is far more complicated. And people who've seen the film always say to me, I think it was about me. They always think they relate to it because I think there's a truth about this kind of relationship where it's a friendship, but there's something more to it. Is that love? Does that not count as love? What is that? And that's something we wanted to explore. I think these things are sort of magic. I don't know. We looked far and wide for the right actor because I knew the whole film is dependent on whatever it is between me and the other actor. And, you know, and there are brilliant actors that you won't have chemistry with for whatever reason. And I met Imogen on a Zoom. I'd never met before. I thought she'd be very serious because she'd done so many serious films. And within 5 minutes we were laughing, crying, laughing. And I felt like I'd known her forever. And I was like, oh, well, this is what the characters are. They're best friends who've known each other forever. So I was like, let's hire her, and then we don't have to do any work.
I think we just have, we just really get on. We like being around one another. It's a really incredible thing to find with a co-star because it just makes the whole project effortless, you know, and it is a romantic story. Everything lives or dies by sort of how we are with one another. And I think it helps with performances too. You really want the best, you know, for your co-star, and I think that just infuses the work on a whole other level, you know. It was really nice being back in England because I live in New York, and it was really great to do, first of all, something that was kind of comedic, but also something in England and be in the countryside, and it was just really stunning. And like, no one actually stays in those places, you know, that's just like very, very luxurious. So it's very cool to sort of pop in and get to do those scenes.
You know, when we first read this, it was a kind of a smaller movie, and we were so busy. We read this script. It was one of those things that falls in your plate and you get really excited about it because it just felt like a gift. And to us, it felt like the right kind of story that needed to be told. And movies get made when they're undeniable. When you have a theme and when you have stories and storytellers that just have a voice and a strong voice, that fit right into that category.
It's a beautiful, complicated love story, and love is difficult, and it's challenging, and it's ever-evolving, and it's universal and global. So we couldn't be happier partnering with Apple on this one, and we're really excited for everybody to check this out.